So late last night, we got a ton, and I mean a ton of information regarding Black Ops Cold War Season 1. From maps, to weapons, to operators, and everything in between, we learned everything that was going to be coming in Season 1 of Black Ops Cold War. And with that, we also learned everything about the new Rebirth Island update to Warzone. And this update is insane. It gives us a new map, weapon integration, leveling integration, new challenges, and also some changes to Verdansk as well. Now, with this, it's also by far the most confusing update that we have ever had for Black Ops Cold War, and specifically for Warzone. So I wanted to make a dedicated video discussing everything that this update is going to change in Warzone and how it's going to affect your gameplay. And on top of that, explain to you guys what exactly Rebirth Island is as a battle royale map, because it's different than Verdansk. It's different than a Fortnite map. It's just different, but it's cool. And it's one of my favorite battle royale maps of all time. So let me explain. So what you need to know about the Rebirth map is, first of all, it already exists. This is a thing that's already a map in Black Ops 4 and in Blackout, and it is called Alcatraz in that game. This is not Verdansk. It's not the full-size BR map that a lot of you are maybe expecting. It is much, much smaller, and there's going to be a smaller player count, and the game is going to work differently than you thought. Now, first, let's look at the map. So the first look we have at this map is after dropping out of the C-130 in the trailer. And as you can see here, if you pause the screen, you can see kind of like the northern end of the map, and this is identical to what the map looks like in Alcatraz. Now, I don't have a one-to-one picture, but this is the exact same area that you're looking at here. The only difference is in Alcatraz, there's a submarine at the top end of the island. So the main difference in this is the color and aesthetic. Basically, it's sunny, it's not dark, there's no fog like there was in Alcatraz. Now, in the next scene, you can see someone dropping through the roof of the main middle building. This is the prison building in the Alcatraz map, and here's just a comparison between the two. So on the Alcatraz map, it's kind of dark, dingy, it is Alcatraz, but in the new map, it appears to be something associated with the KGB, and we know that this takes place on Rebirth Island. So here's the thing, yesterday, Activision put out this image, and it is of what the menu of Warzone is going to look like in Season 1. And as you can see, it kind of looks snowy, but if you take a closer look, you realize where your character is standing here is inside the prison area of the Alcatraz building. Just as a comparison, this is what this looks like in-game in Black Ops 4. Now, we know that this area isn't going to be Alcatraz on the new map because it takes place on Rebirth Island and not on Alcatraz, but it could still be some sort of prison system. Also, you see, it's Christmasized. There's snow, there's snowmen, there's Christmas lights, and I don't know if that's what it's going to look like in-game, because a lot of the time, the menus that they put into Warzone and Modern Warfare aren't actually in the game. For example, when they added in Captain Price, the background was Chernobyl, and there was really never a Chernobyl map or anything like that added into the game, and the only thing that really represented that was the Ferris wheel in Warzone. So obviously on the screen there are some things that are blurred out. First of all, the gamer tag in the top right. Down in the bottom left though, there is a playlist that's blurred out, and obviously we now know that this playlist is the Rebirth Island playlist. Now, we did find out that there's going to be two separate Rebirth Island playlists. Your normal Battle Royale, and this one is actually going to have the same system as Verdansk, where when you die, you then go to the Gulag and you can get a free respawn. However, this is the Gulag that is going to be on the Rebirth Island map. And what's cool is they actually gave us a description of what this actually is. So it said, there is a second new Gulag coming to Warzone. Deep below the surface of Rebirth Island's prison block, which is that middle building that you see in the menu that we talked about before, prisoners are dragged to an ominous new area during traditional battle royale modes. This classified location has a grim history, as certain inmates are experimented on as part of Perseus's plot to turn the tide of the Cold War. So basically, this is just a new Gulag. You spawn in, it's 1v1, there's some metal detectors that if you go through, they're going to make a noise, and it's pretty straightforward. My guess is they'll probably change this up probably once a season to make it look different. Of course, there's more to this, because as we know, in Verdansk, when you get killed and you got brought to the Gulag, you get dragged to the Gulag and there's kind of a cutscene. Well, in the trailer, they actually throw in the cutscene where you get dragged off to the Gulag. You see, in this cutscene, you're grabbed by your arms and dragged underneath the prison area of Alcatraz. Now, if you go to this area on the Alcatraz map, you can see it's the same area, but it's blocked off by a little rolling door. Now, on top of this, in this cutscene, you get dragged into the kind of prison area, and then you get sat in an interrogation seat, and you get punched in the face by what appears to be either Bell or Harry Stone, either or, and then you are brainwashed by what appears to be the same thing that Alex Mason is brainwashed. And then I guess you go and fight in the gulag. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing if there's a little bit more to this, and it's also cool that they're using this blocked off area from the Alcatraz map as I showed you. So the normal rebirth mode is going to work like Verdansk, where you spawn in, you drop in, and then if you die, you can go to the gulag and have a chance to respawn. They told us that when this launches, there's going to be trios and quads. No word right now about anything to do with solos or duos, just trios and quads at launch. Now, they didn't say anywhere in this how many people were going to be on one given game of this. They said it's going to be similar to mini BR, so maybe around 50. I believe it was 50 that dropped in on Alcatraz, so that is one option, but it's going to be less than your normal Verdansk. Now, there is also going to be another game mode called Resurgence. This is the same game mode that was in Black Ops 4 and Blackout, where you literally had up to 5 respawns on your character. And basically the way that this worked is if you had a teammate alive, you could respawn after you die, you could go and get more loot and try to win the game. This is my favorite BR game mode of all time because it was super, super high action, got crazy at the end of the game. There was a chance to respawn, so if you made a mistake, you could come back in. There's no gulag in this mode. It's just if your team's still alive, you get to respawn. And like I said, this is one of my favorite modes of all time, and I'm really excited to see it return. It should be super fast-paced. I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's why I'm glad that they're adding a normal BR mode on Rebirth Island and the Resurgence mode as well. Now, the one thing that I don't know about this game mode is how are loadouts going to work, because normally on this map you just spawn in, you pick up loot off the ground, find armor, but I don't know if that's going to be the way it is in this game. I don't know if you're going to be able to get loadout drops, if you're going to spawn in with a loadout. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. That's one thing that they haven't answered yet. Speaking of things that I'm not 100% sure about, in the trailer, we see a lot of kill streaks, like airstrikes being called in, napalm, on top of that RCXDs, vehicles being driven around like ATVs. We see some helicopters in the air, and they are adding an attack helicopter into Warzone, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's going to be interesting to see how those play on this map and how they kind of fit in, because normally on Alcatraz, it was just you versus the enemies, no kill streaks or anything like that. So I don't know how I feel about that. You can let me know what you think down in the comments. And it's going to be interesting to see how this mode and this map compares to, say, Verdansk. Speaking of Verdansk, people are wondering, is Verdansk going to be changing with Season 1? And from everything I'm reading, from everything I have saw, the answer is no, not really. They are changing one thing and one thing alone, and that is the gulag. We are getting a new gulag, and the description of it is this. It's time to step out of the gulag showers as prisoners of Warzone are now dragged to an interrogation room, strapped to a chair, and thrown into an all-new gulag where the 1v1 battle rules are similar, but the arena is completely different. Now, looking at this image, you might actually not know what this is. However, taking a closer look, this is Nuketown. You can see that it's the house with the garage, the cars in the middle. Essentially, you're playing a 1v1 on a small, kind of dilapidated version of Nuketown inside of an interrogation room, which is pretty damn cool. So that is basically all that will be changing on the Verdansk map. At least that's all that they have told us so far. There is rumors that more will change. In fact, we might be getting a total map revamp, but that won't be till March, which is basically the 1-year anniversary of Warzone, which would kind of make sense. Now, the other thing that is changing at the launch of Season 1 is the addition of new weapons into Warzone. So essentially, all of the weapons from Black Ops Cold War will be entering into Warzone. So all the snipers, all the ARs, SMGs, everything will be coming into Warzone, and you can use those weapons. The gunsmith section will work exactly like it did in Modern Warfare, not like it does in Black Ops Cold War. As you're seeing here, this is the Black Ops version of the AK that they are adjusting the attachments on. Now, the stats on the weapon are going to be different than they are in Black Ops Cold War. So it's going to be very interesting to see what weapons are good. I also must mention that if you haven't leveled up your weapons in Black Ops Cold War and you want to use them in Warzone, you're really going to want to do so this weekend when it's double XP, because if you don't, you're not going to have any attachments for these weapons. Now, pulling our tinfoil hats back out, there's something else on this image that is very, very interesting. If you take a look at the things that are blanked out, if you look at the top left, right between play and weapons, there is a new tab there. If you go to Warzone right now, there is nothing in between these two. They are touching. In fact, if you look at some of the other images that they put up, again, play and weapons are touching. There's nothing in between them. But in this screenshot and another one, the one that you were seeing here, there is something that they blurred out at this point. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is the Retribution playlist that's going to be on Rebirth Island. I don't know what that is, and I don't know anyone who does. So if your tinfoil hats are on, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think this blanked out section at the top actually is. Now, on top of this, as you're seeing here, we're also going to be getting all of the Black Ops Cold War operators, including the Milsim operators within Warzone. You can see the ones that are blanked out. Those are all the Season 1 operators that we went over last night. On top of this, the new leveling system is going to be added in as well. On top of this, mastery challenges as well. So these are things and challenges you can complete for different calling cards and things along those lines. Now, the one thing that I am interested with is what are they going to be doing with the intel missions? Because right now in Warzone, they've kind of halted the intel missions. We know that there is more there, but they haven't added any since midway through Season 6. And this is something that I really enjoyed and they haven't mentioned yet. So I'm interested to see if the intel is going to be on both Verdansk and Rebirth Island, only on Rebirth Island, or on one of them just for Verdansk. I don't know. Now, the reason why I'm so interested in this is because this was the way that they actually progressed the story of Warzone, was with these pieces of intel. And as you guys know, I'm really interested in that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. So hopefully I was able to answer most of your questions about the Rebirth map. I must say, based off of all of the images that I've seen, this is basically taking Alcatraz from Blackout, reskinning it and changing the way that we play on it with new weapons and everything like that. They basically look identical with just a little bit of color and lighting change, and on top of that, some Russian propaganda and the Black Ops Cold War story put on top of it. So, like I said, hopefully I was able to answer your questions. If it did help you out, if it did inform you, it's always appreciated if you do hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, like what you see, want to stay up to date on all my videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to 1 million, and I'd love to hit it before the end of the year. And also, let me know what you think down in the comments. But as per usual, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're